All right, good evening. It is after 7 p.m. It is April 7th, 2025. Tonight's meeting is here in council chambers and live streamed on YouTube. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be Monday, April 21st of 2025. Ms. Hamilton, will you please call the roll of our council members?
Mr. Abernathy.
Here.
Mr. Gaffey.
Here.
Mr. Huzay.
Here.
Ms. Knappich. Mr. Malta.
Here.
Mr. Myers.
Here.
Ms. Borden. Here.
We do have a quorum. Ms. Knappich did indicate that she was unable to attend this evening due to a conflict with her work. And the agenda will remain as presented. It's time I'll ask you to stand and join the members of the City Council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion from council to approve the minutes from our last meeting? So moved by Mr. Huzay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaffey. All in favor of approving signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Communications from the mayor. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, Mr. President. Thank you. Just a number of things to touch on. First of all, I want to say I'm glad I see Mr. Gaffey here. We've been thinking about you and your family quite a bit in the last 10 days or so, and I know it's been a very traumatic time for you all, and we're all wishing you the best and glad you can make it here, and glad the reports we get are positive, and we just hope that continues. So that's kind of going to segue. That could have been a situation that could have been worse. And speaking of which, I want to ask Mr. Tono to give us a report. We had some excitement last week, again, on a situation that's a lot of information's out there, and again is one that did not end particularly well, but certainly could have been much, much worse. And Scott, if you please.
Sure.
Give an update to council.
Absolutely. President, council, members of the council, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. This is still very much under investigation, and we're being very deliberate in what we're releasing. So I'm going to kind of be very careful with what I say. Those of you who have been for our Citizens Police Academy can attest that we talk about there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop, but on April 2nd, when our officers essentially tried to make a routine traffic stop, that the guy basically started shooting at him. I know many of you, if not all of you, have probably seen the body cam and the crew cam footage of the incident. Extremely scary predicament that our officers were. After the initial shooting, the suspect fled, and law enforcement from all over the county engaged in a vehicle pursuit with them. It eventually culminated with the vehicle crashing right there on Cleveland Road by the Dix Expressway. The suspect is still currently in the hospital. We are still currently investigating. We have very specific protocols and policies in place. The Bureau of Criminal Investigation is actually doing an investigation that is parallel to our criminal investigation of the actual shooting itself. I want to take this opportunity to thank the other law enforcement agencies in the community who stepped up to help us out that day. And I want to commend our officers and all the officers for their bravery that day. Many of you who watched that video, that's the stuff that when we get into this job, we always know in the back of our mind could happen, but you hope that it doesn't. And that day it did. I will say that our officers are involved, we're not physically injured, and we do have very specific protocols in place to make sure that they're being taken care of emotionally, physically, that kind of thing. So just wanted to give you guys that update. Again, it's currently still under investigation. We've still got some moving pieces to kind of put together. The moral story is right now, as of that very moment, we took him into custody of the community to save. And I'm very proud of our officers' bravery and appreciative of the law enforcement effort in the county and in Wooster that day. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I certainly have no expertise in this area, but from the little bit I know in addition to this, Worcester PD just performed, exemplary throughout this process, and I think I shared with Scott Rotolo that, it's a sign we have good people and we've got good systems in place and good training. So, again, reflected well on the community, and again, there was certainly some luck involved in that, but there's also a lot of preparation that provides for good luck and good outcomes. Joel had sent out at the end of the last week his regular council update. I think there are a couple things he wanted to touch on there, so I'll just turn that over to him for this point.
Thanks, Bob. In the middle of that document, one of the things that this ties in with this current incident, one of the ways they were able to find this, and the reason they were alerted to the vehicle was the flat armrest that we started installing. And they've really only been able to access those for a little over a month, I think. But I shared a couple of examples in there of things they've been able to use, crimes they've been able to solve, arrests they've made, vehicles they have, been able to recover. But the one thing that I sort of glossed over was that it's been used quite a bit by our CIU, multiple occasions. And when I say multiple, it's a lot. So just in that 30-some days, and there may be some duplicate numbers when they enter things a couple of times as they're trying to narrow down, but the CIU's used it over 170 times. And overall, we've used that system well over 600 times just in those 30 days. So I just want to let you know what a good investment that was and the results that we're getting from that. So I just wanted to point that out. Did want to mention, and we'll have another meeting and we'll remind you again, but Arbor Day is coming up, tree planting is coming up. We're trying to make a little bigger deal out of that this year. I think you were sent an invite if you wanted to come on April 25th, Christmas Run Park from 1 to 3. And we're encouraging people to come early if you want to help plant some trees, and so come dressed for that if you're interested in that. Just want to remind you of that. And then the only one other thing that I did have in the update was you had passed at the last council meeting for us to go out for RFPs for the transit system. And one of the things that also happened during this time was part of the ODOT process was getting a group steering committee together. We had some of the nonprofit agencies, some of the county agencies and other things, and the ODOT and our consultants for marketing, and what would be something that people would remember, be very visible. And I put in there the logo that they came up with, this group came up with, which is WAGO, Wooster Wayne Community Transit, and so that's in there. I just want to point that out. So you'll hopefully be seeing that on vehicles. We've already got 4 vehicles. I think we just acquired another 4 or 5 that they'll be getting here shortly. So we should be set as that moves forward. Hopefully you'll see that out. We're hoping to go out really soon with the RFP, July, August. We're hoping. It just depends on how quickly whoever wins that contract could get up and running. But that's the plan right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a number of updates. The north window replacements, if you recall, we've been replacing the windows in this building over the course of the last year. These were all original windows from, or not all, but mostly original windows from 1961, I think, when they're installed. The south side was done in the fall, I believe, and now they're pretty well through, at least on the second floor of the north end. They're doing a nice job with that. This gets an asterisk because I prepared this last Friday before things really got interesting. But this is based on a report from Andre, who tracks sales tax receipts. And if you ever want to talk, have a long conversation with Andre about sales tax receipts and how they indicate what's to come down the road, he's happy to have that conversation. But at least as of a week ago, and this really dates back to January sales tax numbers, January sales tax receipts were the second highest ever in the county, behind only June of 2024. So at least as of January, our economy was doing well locally. The O Huddle mural is up. I think you all know where that is, on the South Buckeye parking lot, so that's up in place. Norfolk Southern has completed the first stage of that overpass work there on Madison Avenue. A lot of people don't think of that as Madison Avenue, but that's what it's there, just south of the brush. So that's the good news. The bad news is there is a second phase, which is going to come later this year, and at that point they'll be working on the infrastructure itself as much. This is pretty much just the embankment work that they did. We provided a letter of support. This is kind of just maybe for an interesting thing. There's been talk about NASA headquarters relocating to outside of Washington, D.C., and we got a push from Team NEO, Northeast Ohio. They're making a push to have it, or an argument that it should be relocated to the NASA Glenn facility. And so they asked all the mayors and commissioners in Northeast Ohio to lend their support to a letter. So we did so. Whether that means anything or not, I thought it was just kind of interesting. It'd be neat if it would. March 25th, participated in the United Way grant ceremony. That was nice. Following day, we had a business before hours meeting at Certified Angus Beef. I know a number of council people were there at that one. A nice event for one of our bigger employers in town. The next day, we had an open house for Tim Monet's retirement, and a nice turnout for that. And Tim's podcast is up. You can access that through the city website. And Tim's got some interesting story, has some interesting history with the city, and it's worth a listen. The following day, we had the American Heritage Girls visited City Hall, and Amy did the bulk of the work in that, but it was a nice group to work with. We had some fun giving them a little city history, and Amy did the tour of the building. And then that same day, we had the Community Corrections Board meeting, which deals with not just jail operations, but also basically the all aspects of the criminal justice system. Reentry, incarceration, recidivism. Then on Friday, Joel and I attended the CFAS, OSU's State of the College event, which is always a nice thing that takes place out at their campus there. They have, and it's for the whole college of food, agriculture, engineering, and sustainability, maybe?
College of Food, Ag, and Environmental Science.
Environmental Science, there you go. CFAS. It's for that whole program, so it's out of Columbus, but they do a remote presentation there. Looking ahead, this week we've got a quarterly meeting with WDC. We've also got a meeting next week scheduled with the new director of Red Cross. There's a Children's Services Luncheon, and that same day, former Senator Matt Dolan, who is the new Team NEO director, is going to be in town. And we've got a meeting set up with him. And then we're also meeting with Majors Tom and Vicki Clark from Salvation Army. So pretty full week next week. Looking ahead to the agenda, we have 2 items of unfinished business on second reading. Because of the numbers situation, we know we're not going to be able to suspend rules tonight. So I think you're all aware that we are asking to have a special meeting on Wednesday at 5:30, simply to address those 2 items of business. They'll be read tonight, have their second reading and any discussion, but we anticipate that Wednesday's meeting will be short and sweet. 9 items of new business. All but items 2, 3, and 8 require 3 readings. As always, this decision ultimately lies with council, but the administration would request that council consider suspension of the rules and enactment of items 1, 6, and 9 tonight. The department managers are always anxious to get projects out and bid, and item 1 is prerequisite to the bids authorized in item 2. With regards to item 6, which involves the acquisition of parking lots, parking spaces, we would like to have that additional parking available before our busy summer season downtown, which will be here before we know it. And then finally, when we get to item number 9, the urgency on that one is going to be self-evident, so I won't say any more about that. The final thing I have for you is just something on issue 2. This came through this week. I'm not going to advocate one way or the other on issue 2. There's material here from the Ohio Public Works Commission on what it is. It's not very sexy from a voter standpoint, so you don't kind of hear about it like some of the other statewide issues we've had in prior years, but it is an important one. And I want to just share something that was in an editorial in the Plain Dealer last week that gives some basic information about it. Issue 2 will allow issuance of general obligation bonds of up to $250 million per year over 10 years to fund grants and loans for local infrastructure improvements across the state of Ohio, and will create an estimated 35,000 construction jobs. Issue 2 relies on existing state revenues and does not raise taxes. Since Ohio voters first approved the program in 1987, it has provided funding for more than 19,000 critical infrastructure projects and upgrades to local roads and bridges, wastewater treatment systems, water supply systems, solid waste disposal facilities, and stormwater and sanitary collection, storage, and treatment facilities all across all 88 counties. In the current 10-year cycle, $2.3 billion has been awarded to 1,084 local governments for 4,490 projects benefiting municipalities, counties, townships, and other subdivisions across the state. Funding for this program relies on voter approval about every 10 years. House Joint Resolution 8 cleared the Ohio General Assembly with overwhelming bipartisan support in December of 2024, making way for the renewal to be placed before voters in May of 2025. The last voter renewal of the program was on May 6, 2014, at which time it received support from 65% of the voters. And just as a local note, in the last 10 years, Wooster City has received approximately $12.5 million for local infrastructure projects through issue 2. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. President. Thank you for
All right.
your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next item of business is petitions, which at this point we do have a liquor control request. Ms. Hamilton, if you want to read that for us.
We received a liquor control request for a new C2 license for the Best Price LLC, DBA Best Price Cigarettes at 516 Bell Avenue in Worcester.
Motion to waive hearing.
All right, motion to waive hearing by Mr. Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Huzay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Just as an FYI, a C2 liquor permit allows for carry-out only sales of wine and prepackaged low-proof mixed beverages until 1 a.m. I was curious myself, because I'm like,
I looked it up as well.
I have no idea, so okay. And we have no communications from the public, at least related to our agenda items. And so we'll move into committee reports, which there was a Public Infrastructure Committee meeting, and Ms. Borden, if you want to fill us in on that, please.
Sure. The structure of the public infrastructure meeting this evening was really just to hear input from community members. We've heard from the administration. We've heard what their proposal is in some detail. And so I wanted to allow an opportunity for the community to come in and share their opinions and their input and any questions that they had. So I think it was a success. We heard from a number of individuals in the audience, and then several council members also shared some proposals and ideas and questions. So I think for now, this issue is going to kind of just remain on ice, but yeah, we can expect probably a vote of some sort in the coming months on that. That's all I have for an update.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we will move into unfinished business. We have 2 items, and Ms. Hamilton, if you please read us the first one.
Ordinance number 2025-03, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an enterprise zone agreement with Jarrett Companies and J Warehouse LLC for certain tax incentives and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, I must recuse myself from this agenda item and the next one.
All right, very good. So noted, thank you.
All right, this is the second reading. However, because we are going to have a quick turn time and be voting on this on Wednesday, I do want to give members of council opportunity to ask questions, comment on this one if they so choose. So does anybody from council wish to go ahead and discuss this on the Jarrett opportunity here? If not, then we're going to go ahead and move it on to its third and final reading.
All right, and we will do that on Wednesday, this Wednesday. Okay. Ordinance 2025-03 has had its second reading. Ms. Hamilton, if you'll read the ordinance 2025-04, please.
Ordinance number 2025-04, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Seaman Corporation and 1000 Venture Boulevard LLC for community reinvestment area tax incentives and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Okay, same thing here for Seaman Corp. We had this discussion at the last meeting, so any members of council who wish to have discussion on this prior to Wednesday, I want to open it up to the floor. Any questions? Any comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and move it to third and final reading, and we'll vote on it Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, don't have enough people to move it along, but we'll take care of that Wednesday, or at least we hope. And for the record, Mr. Huizet has joined us back again, so we'll move on to new business. First item, Resolution 2025-27, which will be introduced by Ms. Warden. It's a 3-reading item, but Ms. Hamilton, if you please read it for us.
Resolution number 2025-27, a resolution declaring it necessary to improve a portion of the streetscape on South Market Street and South Street and determine assessments for affected property owners and allowing for immediate enactment.
All right, Ms. Warden, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is part of Worcester's ongoing streetscape project, which is sort of a beautification project for our downtown. The construction cost estimate is $250,000, and it is included in the 2025 appropriations budget. The purpose of this resolution is to declare necessity of improving the pedestrian areas along South Market Street to from South Market Street south to South Street, and along South Street from South Market Street to Peach Alley, so that is a lot of south in there. And this would give the city the approval it needs to begin the assessment process for the property owners in this area. Preliminary calculations set the assessments at $67,881.52, and the remaining of which, that $250,000 price tag would be paid for then by the city. And I think, we're all aware of all the development that we've seen in our downtown, particularly in that southeast quadrant, and so I'm happy to see, that there are some beautification updates going on down there, and I think that the business owners are on board with this too. It's not always the case, but I believe that they've been working very hard to do their part to make their businesses presentable in our downtown, and so they're going to really benefit from having the sidewalks and the streets match their beauty. So I understand that we do have enough people here to place this on third and final to.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to do that, please. Place this on third and final
Motion to
reading.
suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Abernathy. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the suspension.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Mr. Huizet.
Yes.
Okay, rules have been suspended. Ms. Warden?
Thank you. And I should point out that Mr. Rice is here if anybody has any questions, but.
Can I ask a brief question? On the assessments that are calculated, do we know approximately how many businesses are going to be splitting that assessment?
2 businesses. It'll be City Square Steakhouse and Lyric Theater.
Okay. Thank you.
So I would, with nothing further, I'll make a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Ms. Warden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Huizet? All right. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Mr. Huizet.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2027 is approved. Next new item for business, Resolution 2025-28. Ms. Hamilton, if you'll please read it for us.
Resolution number 2025-28, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise for bids and to enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for construction services for the South Market and South Street Streetscape project and allowing for immediate enactment.
All right, we have Ms. Warden, and just FYI, this is budgeted, so but the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is a request to seek bids and enter into contract with the lowest and best bidder for streetscape in the quadrant that I just discussed in the prior resolution. Just a reminder, the estimated cost for the project is $250,000, and nearly $68,000 of that would be covered by the assessments to the affected property owners. One thing I forgot to ask Mr. Rice prior to this meeting, when is this project slated to take place?
The plan is to do it after Labor Day, and that is being coordinated with the property owner. But we would like to get it bid out
Correct.
as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's just around the corner at this point.
Yeah, well, hopefully get some good bids, and obviously I would save them a little bit on the assessment cost.
Good, okay. And then one final thing, I know that when we last did a streetscape project downtown, there was some pushback by a couple of the business owners just on them not having enough notice. And so I would just encourage you and the city to make sure to provide ample notice to all. I mean, obviously, we're only dealing with 2 in this particular instance, but just to kind of avoid any negative feedback that we might get on
They are
this.
well aware.
I'm sure. I'm sure, but with all of that, go ahead, sorry.
I just said so noted.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to motion to adopt, please.
Motion to adopt by Ms. Warden, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Abernathy. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Mr. Huzay,
Yes.
All right, motion is adopted. Next item, Resolution 2025-29. This will be introduced by Mr. Malta, and it is also a budgeted item. But Ms. Hamilton, please read it for us.
Resolution number 2025-29, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise for bids and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for the Gashi Street and South Columbus Avenue water line replacement project and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Malta, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Rice is here with us for any specific questions on this, but I think this is duly noted and duly needed in this area in particular, and I'm glad that we're making these improvements in this particular area. With that said, I'll open the floor to any questions for anybody.
Is this, maybe I'm naive, is this talk about the water lines we talked about last year that need improvements?
It is
like
in
bigger
that
water lines or?
facility, yes, in that general area.
Yeah, last year, we had, I think last spring, we had applied for CDBG grant for water line replacement on Gashi Street. We did not get that grant. We turned around and applied for an Ohio Public Works Commission grant, and we were awarded a combination grant loan for water lines on Gashi Street as well as a portion of South Columbus.
So I know that at one point we had had a bit of a discussion about I think it was the water lines were pretty small in that particular area. Is this addressing any of that issue, making the water lines a bit larger?
I think some of them are 4-inch water lines, 6 inches the minimum. So any of the 4-inch water lines will, actually all of them are going to be 8-inch.
Okay.
So they will get.
So they're getting, some of them are getting upgraded?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Anybody else? With that said, I would like to move to third and final reading on this one.
I think it's
Motion to adopt.
Yeah, don't have to.
All right, motion to adopt, is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Myers. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Warden, Mr. Huzay,
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next item, ordinance 2025-05. It's a three reading item. At this point, Mr. Huzay will be introducing this evening. And with that, Ms. Hamilton, please read it for us.
Ordinance number 2025-05, an ordinance amending the traffic control file to enact the recommendations of the Traffic Commission.
Mr. Brazee, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, pretty straightforward here, no money being spent. Just kind of updating engineering some of the traffic control files and maps and stuff. A lot of this is in our packet. You can see if you have any questions, Mr. Rice is here. A lot of these actions come from the Traffic Commission, which met last month. Just kind of getting everything up to date. The biggest thing I saw was just the removal of traffic signal at Walnut and South Street. Mr. Rice assured me we're not putting an intersection there. We just decided that we did not need a traffic signal like there. Any questions, Mr. Rice, is available?
I do have one, and I'm not quite convinced it's related to this, but I had a resident call me. They go to work very early in the morning, and that particular street that we're talking about, those used to be flashing caution, and now they're turned on overnight. I just wondered why that change was made, or if there was a change made recently.
Yeah, there was a change made not too long ago. Mr. Denning is here, he can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we did put it into a different flash mode nighttime, and that had been done for a long time, but after we did some more research on that, checking, getting guidance from ODOT, they actually recommend that you don't do that, that you just leave it on the same operation daytime and nighttime.
So will we be changing all of the lights up Burbank, including Old Man Winkler, and then all the lights on 83 North? Because those flash currently. I just went to the airport in the middle of the night.
Yeah, those would be, because they're wider intersections, we're able to keep those, but it seems like whenever there's an intersection that's tighter in the city, we've had some accidents, and we know that Liberty and Market Street getting a couple accidents there now. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the problem is as far as drivers these days, but they're not paying attention. I think they think it's a four-way, and that's the confusion. So they think the other person's going to stop when they're on yellow, and they're not stopping. So it simplifies things. Everybody knows what they need to do on green.
He complained it's taking him a couple more minutes to get to work when he hits the red lights. It never did before. And he said, there's nobody out here. Okay, thanks a lot.
Take
for
that
the
UPS
clarification.
right turn advice.
He started. It's going the other way.
If I could ask, then to sort of piggyback on that, just out of curiosity, because I know at Buckeye and, is that North Street? Buckeye North, where we removed the traffic signal a number of years ago. I personally know at least 3 people who've been hit, 2 of which by hit and runs, at that intersection over the years since that signal has been removed. I'm just curious, I mean, what does ODOT recommend for that? I mean, is there a step down? Could we go back to the flashers for a little while just to keep people on their toes?
That would be next.
Sure, but I mean, we have a 4-way stop oh no, I'm sorry, it is just a 2-way stop there at Buckeye, right? But nobody stops at it.
I don't know, and I don't know if there's more accidents at that intersection compared to other similar intersections, or if that one just...
I think there's an obstructed view, probably a little bit, right?
Well, we did check that. Based on the site triangles in the ODOT manual, it is not obstructed, but for some people, they don't pull up far enough. But I was saying, I don't know as if there's more accidents at that intersection, or if it just gets more attention because people know there was a signal there.
Yeah.
And so it's just on the radar.
Sorry, I know that was a diversion from this
Yeah.
particular topic, but
Okay. Any other questions? If not, Mr. Huzay.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I think it needs a...
Actually, you need to suspend the rules on that.
Sure.
All right. Motion to suspend the rules. Is
I'll
there a
second that.
Seconded by Mr. Gaffey.
Thank you.
Please call the roll on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Huzay,
Sure, now I will motion to.
motion to adopt, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Myers. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Okay. Motion is adopted. Thank you. All right. Next item will be by Mr. Abernathy. It's a 3-reading item. Ms. Hamilton, please read it for us.
Ordinance number 2025-06, an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 1701 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wooster, Ohio, Income Tax, to correspond with Chapter 718 of the Ohio Revised Code and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Oh, man, I love to talk about tax. My wheelhouse here. No, really, to boil this down to simplicity is we are updating local tax code to match Ohio tax code. If you really want a in-depth explanation of what was changed, Mr. Doherty is here to tell you all the in-depth detail. So does anybody want the blow-by-blow? Go ahead, Mr. Doherty.
Andre, if you can spend some time on, it looks like part I.
Yes,
stuff.
so that, Harold, pull it down this way. So in years past, for net profits, businesses could apportion their net profits by either payroll, sales, or property. So for example, Mr. Sanders works for a company that may do business in 50 Ohio cities. So they'd have to portion their net profits that way. The code changed to say, you know what? You can now use something called reporting location. So if his company now has 2 locations, they can apportion by 2 instead of 50. So therefore, they're less overhead and less tracking and all that kind of stuff. So this was I think, that's the primary reason for that change.
So does that make an entity's tax burden go up or down?
Well, it makes the administrative portion of it a lot less. That would be kind of what the reporting location was is. So for example, Worcester were a low tax entity versus if it was up north, like say it's North Carolina County, their taxes are higher there typically. So it could benefit, yes, in that respect as well. But I looked and we haven't had anybody adopt this method yet in Worcester anyway. The reporting.
Does this apply for, assuming it's too late for this year?
No, it actually went into effect 1/1/24, because it was state law. This is just reconciling the other thing that went into effect is the business tax returns. They get, if they file an extension, it was 6 months, federal is 6, we give them 1 extra now. They have 7 months to file, they file extension. And the third substantive thing was late fees were capped at, I think, 150, now they're 25. And I think the first late is on the house. No. That's pretty much it. Exciting stuff.
Anybody else have any other tax questions for Mr. Doherty?
No question, but just a general statement. I mean, we do this with the various codes in the city as well. You know, the ordinances, when we have to make modifications of those from time to time to better fall in line with the changes at the Ohio Revised Code of the state. So at this point, really this is tax code stuff, but it's the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's basically just
Let's match it up.
yep.
All right, I am going to motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warden. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes. Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Myers. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item Resolution 2025-30 will be introduced by Mr. Huzay, and it is also a three-reading item, but Ms. Hamilton, if you please read it for us.
Resolution number 2025-30, a resolution authorizing the acquisition of real property by the City of Worcester from GGI Properties, appropriating the necessary funds, and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Huzay, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We can see on the map up here, the city has a parcel in mind near the community center that they would like to purchase GGI properties, not to exceed $35,000. So this will aid in parking around that area and in the community center. We all know it's a little tight up there sometimes. Pretty straightforward, kind of dry. City administration's here for any questions.
Is there going to be improvements to that, or are we just going to run it as it is for some period of time?
Probably use PPM to do just a little bit of resurface, fix it up, and restripe it for now.
I forgot to mention, the blue is what the city currently owns, the black portion, the black highlighted portion is what we are looking to obtain.
Good, I was glad to clarify that. I was hoping we weren't going to stripe the grass.
Although if we were going to get the blue section for $35,000, we were going really well.
That's true, that was way over the deal, for sure. All right, so,
Well, so my packet says three readings not required. So what do you want me to do, Mr. President?
What is your packet?
It says
my
full.
packet says three readings, but
It says three readings not required, but the amount is not budgeted, so I'm going to say suspend the rules.
yeah, I would just, at this point, yeah, unless there's some real major reason not to.
Mr.
not to
Scavelli,
move
aren't you
this
going to give your, it's always safer to vote to suspend the rules speech?
This requires it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Motion to suspend the rules by
Second.
Mr. Huzay, seconded by Mr. Abernathy. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
All right.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Huzay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Abernathy. All right, Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn. I was getting excited there. All right. Next item will be by Mr. Abernathy. It is a three-reading item. And Ms. Hamilton, please read it for us.
Ordinance number 2025-07, an ordinance stating to the Wayne County Commissioners pursuant to Revised Code Section 709.03, the services which the City of Worcester would be able to provide for parcel 57-00034.000 and contiguous to the corporation limits and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
All right, so this is kind of the pre-annexation of property where we tell them, these are the services the City of Worcester can offer. So we have to disclose, what it is we offer, then they go back and then, I believe, if we are going to annex it, we then will get a chance to vote on it then. Am I saying that correct, Mr. Scavelli?
That is correct.
Okay, so we're not really voting on an annexation right now. We're just going to vote to disclose to the county, these are the services that we can offer in the case of an annexation. So it's our official release of, this is what we can do. So I think that's pretty simple. So I am, unless there's any further discussion anybody wants to have on that, I'm going to motion to suspend the rules.
All right, motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Myers. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Abernathy?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Mr. Huzay. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Let's see, our next item, Resolution 2025-31. It is a budgeted item and will be introduced by Mr. Myers. But first, Ms. Hamilton, you'll please read it for us.
Resolution number 2025-31, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise according to law and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder, and to enter into a contract pursuant to Chapter 160 of the Codified Ordinances for the Christmas Run Pool Project and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Myers, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I get the most fun ordinance tonight, but I'm going to let Ms. Hirschberger speak to this, the pool renovation. I think you had some things you wanted to share.
Oh, yeah, and in your packet, you should have some of the fun features, and I also brought some copies as well of the zip line. If anybody's interested in what's kind of the concept of that. It's something different that we don't already have. I've been asked if we want another climbing wall. I said, no, we already have one of those at Freelander. In the packet, there are some concepts of slides. So we had a meeting, a group got together at the chalet and right around Christmas time and looked at some different slide concepts. Looked at some drop slides, which are the ones that are kind of suspended and then drop into the pool, and then also some slides that go onto the deck. So you don't necessarily have to know how to swim to utilize those slides either. There's some different spray features, those aren't included in there, but those could go into a bid proposal or RFP depending on what contractor is used for that. Those could be different, all kinds of different things. But we want to make sure that we're keeping Christmas Run a family pool and bringing some really nice features, updated features to that pool, but also making sure that we're bringing up the mechanics and safety features of the mechanical room as well for our employees and efficiency. For utilities also, there's been a lot of thought put into the electrical, a lot of thought put into the sewage, a lot of thought put into the green space and usability of that space as well. So not just using it for 2 months out of the year, but how can we use that space throughout the year as well. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or if anybody else has anything.
Was there any popularity pushing one way or the other for the slides based on the committee? Committee probably got more input from the community than anybody else, so slides, zip line, what?
They really liked the bigger slides.
Okay.
And the drop slides look like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Faster.
I think, if I remember correctly, since I was at the meeting, one of the reasons if you look at the documentation, we've separated the slide out as this kind of a separate line item is because they're very expensive, and there's just such a wide variety of options in costs and designs. We're going to sort of look at that almost separately as part of the whole, but the amount that was budgeted. But we're going to be putting out what we're doing right now is just authorizing the city to basically use the suggestions, ideas, and things that they shared with you that they've gotten from their consultant, OHM, as well as from the people that submitted input in the community. This is the kind of like what the concept we're looking for. This is authorizing us to reach out to our vendors and get prices, and when they give you prices, some vendors are going to use the blue slide, and some vendors are going to use the green one, and so we'll get that back, and you'll have a chance to look at what's been proposed before we end up selecting one. So this is basically authorizing us to get that information, because right now, so far, it's just been, oh, that would be pretty, that would be cool. And so now we got to put dollars to it and see what we can get for what we have budgeted.
And if we're talking about the Christmas Run pool that I'm thinking about that's down near Grant Street, there's a thing about area too, because when you want to improve things like adding all those slides and zip lines, that's something that would attract a lot of people, and that area, that pool is too small for that type of activity to being, how do you expand that hole to add that kind of stuff to it? It will be very expensive, and I can't imagine that area, because then you need parking. I just don't see it as a space to have all that stuff happening.
Yeah, we can share with you the drawings and layouts of how they're proposing to put that in there. So
We're
we,
gonna have to like buy some housing areas out, people own property.
there are plans to expand all that, and it's already been drawn up, so.
Okay.
yeah.
And I'm just new, but.
That's all right. We can share with you what that is. I might be on the website, but we can share it with you. But, yeah, so this is a budgeted item. Does anyone, I'd like to make a motion to approve this evening, and then we'll open it up for discussion by council.
Second.
All right, first and seconded.
Is there any further discussion on the pool project?
I just thank you for clarifying what we're doing, and that we'll see more later on.
Correct.
I've had some people reach out with concerns about parking and green space and stuff, so that will be something we will see in the near future.
Yes.
As this
When we
progresses.
when we get the bids back from the contractors based on.
Excellent.
I mean, they are going to be based on the drawings that we've already got, so they're not going to differ significantly from that. I think the
Right.
most differences are going to be kind of the features and stuff that
Yeah.
that you might see, so.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what was the tentative schedule on construction?
Sorry. So we have a tentative close this year, reopen, so it should be done as of right now, May 15th.
Of 26?
26.
Yes.
So we missed just one season this season.
So it's out in the universe.
Two, but, yeah. Is there any other further questions?
Maybe just one, not related. Are we going to use our transit to move kids from downtown to Freelanders for that year of closing?
So that has been a discussion.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That Kevin and I have brought together, so.
The answer is yes, that's being looked at. I talked to Kevin White a couple meetings ago, and he was, yes, that's definitely something we want to make sure we let people know is available. But we're in the middle of the whole transit thing, so I can't tell you exactly how it's going to work. So, but there will be something, yes, there will be something.
Good.
And to expand on that too, we have been in discussions with a lot of the daycares as well. To talk about how to work that out. And the natatorium with the YMCA, with the daycares and their transportation. So how to work all that out throughout the summer.
So, yes, sir.
Mr. President, just for a point of clarification, want to make sure that we're on the same page here. You were correct in separating out the slide as a separate item, because that is, as you identified correctly, that is a big dollar item, and depending how big you dream, it could be a very, very big dollar item.
Oh, I saw some really great ones for like $2.2 million. It was just, yeah, and Ashley just kept saying, no.
But as far as the other items, as far as the other they're all expensive.
Yeah.
But, so I was going to say the more garden variety type of features on the pool, that will be part of this bid.
Yeah, the pool, the parking, that is
Oh,
already.
yeah,
it's already
demolition of
laid
the
out.
current one, yeah.
Yep, so just want to make sure everybody was clear on
Yeah.
that. But some of the amenities, the other things, we'll get an RFP and share with the committee and decide on those.
I'm glad to clarify that, because I was sitting here going, okay, how are we authorizing $5.5 million, and we're not entirely sure what we're authorizing, so.
Oh, no, we've already approved the drawings and the,
So that's the part we're authorizing. It is finalized. It's the stuff we've not gotten to yet, or that, has not been presented to you yet, that, as Mr. Myers correctly identified, is a discussion for another day.
I know we issued the authorization of issuing bonds last year. Did we end up issuing the bonds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah,
well,
thank you for the clarification. Yeah, we approved the layout and design of the actual, like, the filtration system. I think we talked about all that stuff, the hardware. This is the more fun stuff, but yeah, that part's already been done, and that will be part of this RFP as well, so. Is there any further questions?
All right, well,
Seeing none?
call the roll on the adoption, please, Ms. Hamilton.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Ms. Warden?
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey?
Yes.
Mr. Malta?
Yes.
Mr. Huzay?
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Last item, Mr. Jose, Resolution 2025-32. Ms. Hamilton, please read it for us.
Resolution number 2025-32, a resolution to amend City of Worcester Resolution number 2025-17 and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Jose, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. We already approved this resolution earlier this year. We just need to amend it as we got into the kind of nitty-gritty. We just need to revise what we're purchasing this chipper truck from. Mr. Jennings here to explain all the verbal details, but just kind of changing the name on the PO.
Yeah, so when I went out and met with Carver Tech about pricing this out, they sent me back a quote from Carver Tech, so I'm assuming that from Carver Tech. So when I say, hey, can you send me a vendor packet of information so we can run through the finance department, they're like, oh, you're actually going to buy it from Bayshore. I said, So that's the reason why. Same price, nothing changed, it's just different vendor.
Yeah, it would have been nice for them to have clarified that at the beginning, but oh well, no big deal. Just a few weeks lost.
And you get to come to a city council meeting.
And if we leave this on first reading, he can come back again.
When do we start taking bribes?
Yeah. Just let him out of the
I
meetings.
didn't hear that.
Ms. Hirschberger already bribed.
So, Mr. Jose, what say you?
We can just adopt this now, correct?
Well, don't we have to motion, we've got a motion, yeah, you have to motion to suspend the rules of council.
Boy, this thing doesn't read.
Which again, I know, I understand, but okay, so,
Let me motion to suspend.
I'll second it.
all right, first and seconded, Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Hussein.
Yes.
Turn my mic back. Ms. Borden.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
All right,
Let's motion to adopt.
motion to adopt. Is there a
Second.
Second by Mr. Abernathy. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Ms. Borden.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
All right, there we go. Well, thank you all, and we'll move on to miscellaneous, which at this point we have a couple people that have signed up to speak on miscellaneous items. One of them is Linda Houston, but I don't believe Miss Houston is here, and there's another person that lives on Grostark about the roundabout, which at this point, my apologies if I can't read your name, but I can't. Oh, okay.
And I said,
You spoke your piece earlier. All right. All right, very good, thank you. So that was it. So we'll move on to council. Well, I guess now we'll just start off with Mr. Gaffey.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I've got to say is, just have a newfound appreciation for first responders with everything that happened with my daughter's car accident. And I don't know how many were from Worcester, but I know there were from several different ones from multiple locations. So just want to publicly thank anyone that was involved in that. They did a tremendous job. That's all I got.
Okay. Ms. Borden.
Thank you. I would like to thank everybody that came out for the public infrastructure meeting, and to those of you who shared your opinions, they were received, I think. Again, to reiterate, feel free to reach out to all of us via email or phone calls. Mr. Clark, I know you mentioned like you can watch it on YouTube, but actually it wasn't being recorded for that purpose. We do have an audio recording that I believe we can contact Amy Hamilton and for a copy of that. So you can reach out to Amy Hamilton in the mayor's office here at City Hall, and anybody at home that is watching this, you can do that if you'd like to hear what the public input was during this evening's meeting. kudos to law enforcement officers for what was a very harrowing, I'm sure, incident last week. I'm grateful that they're all safe and home with their families this evening. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Malta?
I would just like to thank everybody for their participation and all those that watch us at home as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Myers?
Thank you. I did attend the Citizens Police Academy last year, and we learned a lot. It's an amazing kind of program, but they talked about the fact that traffic stops are generally one of the most scary things that our officers get involved in, and this was a really good or bad example, I guess, of why that can be the case. So again, I think that our folks did a commendable job in handling the situation. I was particularly pleased when they decided to seize one of the high-speed chases because they didn't want to put citizens at risk. That's just, they were just all using their heads, and that was well done. And I just want to add my thoughts and prayers to Chief Fisher as he continues to recover.
Thank you. Mr. Uzay?
Yes, thank you to Captain Rotolo and Wooster PD and all the other Wayne County law enforcement agencies that day. You guys do a great job. Just keep up the good work and stay safe out there. I also want to thank Mr. Long. I was at his military museum a couple times last month, and he does a great job down there with that museum. If folks haven't visited yet, schedule him to get in the door. And then lastly, shout out to my son who turns a year old in 3 days. That's a hell of a year. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Abernathy?
I just want to say, Mr. Gaffey, I'll continue to pray for your daughters, and I'm so glad that they're improving and doing well. I do see the updates on Facebook, and I'm following along. So glad to see they're continuing their improvement, and hope they continue to go in that direction. And I'd like to use my time here, if it's not too intrusive, Chief, is there any chance we can get a little bit of an update on Chief Fisher?
That's fine. Real quick, he's been on a roller coaster the last several weeks. He's going into week 6 now. He's kind of on the couple steps forward, step back, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. He's currently in a step-down unit. He's got a very, very long road ahead of him. There's a lot of things that he still struggles with. But he's definitely, as of this week, I think moving in a little better direction than he had been. He had to go back to the ICU for a little bit. But then now again, he's as of there this past weekend, they did step him down. Just for the record, on behalf of his family, it was one of the things when I talked to him on Saturday, he was talking about how he hasn't had the opportunity to answer emails or text messages or a lot of the cards and thoughts. I told him, don't worry about that, I'm kind of taking care of that for him. So, but when I do have the opportunity to say on behalf of his family, thank you so much to everybody for their support and kind work and just the thoughts and the prayers. I wanted to make sure that I did that right now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing comes easy, but you know what, he's a tough guy, and this is just one more thing for him to overcome, and I know he'll do it, and look forward to seeing him again real soon. So thanks for the update, and I appreciate it. And that's all I got, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I don't have, I guess really I've just got a question that probably is somewhat ridiculous to ask, but Chief, are we buying Dalton a new police cruiser?
No.
Okay. Because the pictures I saw, we pretty much took the front end of theirs off, and I was thinking, oh my, since it happened in our chase, in our jurisdiction, I was like, oh my, are we responsible for that?
Well, there's
So-
great things about insurance, aren't there?
Well, that's good
Yeah,
news.
we're very appreciative of all the law enforcement.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all.